Okay, everybody, it's January 13th, and we are starting our meeting. Welcome to everyone from all over the world and from the United States and Canada. Our meetings are every Wednesday at this time through June 30th of 2021. You must be a member normally of the group in order to attend our Zoom meetings, and that's for security purposes. Everybody knows the classes are open for registration. We are having a record-breaking turnout for our classes. So if you haven't signed up, I would encourage you to sign up. Members are $15 and non-members are $24. The first class will be this Saturday. The class that was on the previous Saturday, the 9th, was changed because the instructor became ill, Rosemary Orchard, and that class is now scheduled for March the 20th. And that's what I'm showing here. And that's the Zoom class that will take place on March the 20th. On March the 16th, which is this Saturday, is our first class on Big Sur, followed by our second class on Big Sur on the 23rd. Our instructor is Jeff Bohr, which is our one of our own members and a member of our board. You've seen him previously do meetings, and he will do an outstanding job at this. I have listed, and you can see on the video when you get it, all the classes that are coming up. Like I say every week, if you need any help at all as far as Zoom is concerned, or signing up for a class, or signing up to belong to the group, the guy you want to talk to and email is Eckert. He does a fabulous job. We have never lost a week of a meeting due to the virus. Every meeting has been on Zoom, and we're one of the few Mac user groups in the world that took no time off when COVID hit. We just continued on, and our Zoom meetings get about triple the attendance of our library meetings. On the January the 27th, and I made a mistake last week, I said Christian Boyce would be with us. On January the 27th, or excuse me, which is the last week of the month, that's our annual meeting. And I would encourage each and every member, if possible, to try to attend. The meeting is put on by the board of directors. We talk about overview of last year, and we talk about some of the future exciting things that are happening this year. This should be a great meeting. We have done some major things in the last 6 months, and with the new message board, Zoom, and the restructuring the classes. And we would like to share all that information with everybody at our annual meeting. On the 20th, this is where I made the mistake last week. I said Christian Boyce would be with us. Christian Boyce will be with us on February the 24th. On January the 20th is Wayne Mertz, our own member, and he will be covering genealogy on a Mac. And this will be a great meeting, and I will forward some further information about the meeting in my notices. Today's meeting is Mitch, and an iOS meeting, and Mitch, it's all yours.
Okay, welcome everyone. We have a very good and interesting meeting today, and let's minimize this. And let me just proceed to go over quickly the highlights of the meeting. Sheeta is going to do the first part of the meeting. I'll do the second part, and that's when you can all take a nap. So let me move on. Okay, we're going to do a few quick product overviews. Sheeta is going to spend some time going over the OWC Envoy Express, which is a very fast hard drive, external hard drive. And she mentioned that at the end of last week's meeting, and there was a lot of interest. So she is going to go over that. I'm going to go over, let me get back here. I'm going to go over the iPad mini, do a few highlights on that. I have 2 of those, and I have a 3rd one on order. I'm going to go over the phone holder that is put out by, now the name escapes me, but I've got it.
Ameritech.
Yeah, Ameritech. Not Ameritech. Is it Ameritech? No.
WeatherTech.
WeatherTech.
Pretty close.
WeatherTech. And I just got this at Christmas time, and I love it. Then I also am going to go over quickly this level lock bolt. And I've been looking for a good home kit lock to use, and this one is outstanding. And I was able to install it in 10 minutes with my existing door hardware. So I'll spend a minute on that. Then also, Sheeta is going to go over multitasking and split screen on the iPad. She uses that all the time. I don't, and I know I went over it in the fall, but I forget most of what I went over. So I'll have a good learning experience there, I'm sure. I'm going to go over then preparing your iPhone or iPad for sale, preparing your Apple Watch for sale, or getting a new watch, and other Q&A plus discussion. And also in the chat area, I have listed links to all of these items, and some of them are very good. Particularly there's a YouTube video on how to prepare your watch or iPad for sale, and it is outstanding. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sheeta.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Always the question, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The first thing I want to say is that I am having some serious internet problems over here. So if I leave out, I will be back, but there's a possibility I may space out. So anyway, I wanted to go over the Envoy Express Thunderbolt 3 enclosure. And the reason I wanted to go over it is because there are times when some of us really need speed for what we're doing. And especially if you have a Thunderbolt 3 MacBook or computer like I do, if you do a backup and you want to possibly use that backup or need to use that backup, you want a backup drive that's just as fast as, or not just as fast, but relatively fast. And this particular enclosure has a read-write speed of up to 1500 megabits per second. And it's bus powered, so you don't have to have an adapter attached to it. And it has what's called non-volatile memory. And the M.2 is actually just referring to the shape of the drive or the memory. So it's 22 millimeters by 80 millimeters, which is like the size of a stick of gum. So that's what the M2 means. So you have this M.2 NVMe SSD in a sort of ominous description, but it's just indicating the size and the type of memory. I found it to be relatively affordable. You have Thunderbolt drives that can cost far more than this. The great thing about this enclosure is the enclosure itself is $79. I purchased a drive that is 1 terabyte for it, and it was $149. You can get a 4 terabyte drive, and you can get a 8 terabyte drive to fit in this enclosure, and you can swap them out anytime you want. So the great thing about this drive is that it's fast and it's flexible, and I consider it affordable for what I need it for. And I even did a speed test on this. At the time when I purchased my MacBook Pro in 2017, it was not, if not the fastest, the second fastest laptop available in the industry. The read-write speed on my MacBook Pro is anywhere from 1700 to 2100 megabits per second. And with the Envoy Express, I also did a speed test on it, and I got 1200 to 1400 megabytes per second. So it was really fast. And that's something that I want to show you, how easy it is to put together and how fast it is, because when I did my initial backup after I put the drive together, what normally would take 4 or 5 hours in, let's say, one of those My Passport drives took about 20, 30 minutes. So in this case, speed was a wonderful thing. So let me hide this and show you how easily I put this drive together. So I'm showing you this on my iPhone. I'm using my iPhone as a camera to look down on my desk. Here is the drive that I have right now that I use as a backup. It's attached to my computer right now, very small. And what I also have here is a new one that I'm going to put together and show you how to do that, how to format it and use it. So I've already taken it apart. Here's the box that it comes in, and I purchased it from OWC, Other World Computing. I also purchased memory, 1 terabyte or drive from them as well. So I've taken the back off already, and I'm trying to get this so you can see this better. Okay, I've taken the drive off already. This is the enclosure. Here's the back. Here are the 2 screws that hold the back in place. This is the 1 screw that holds the drive in place. And here is the drive. And they also send you the screwdriver to put all of that together. So just quickly, you take the memory or take the drive and you put it into a slot here. You push it in, you want to hear it click, and it will actually be up at an angle like that. And you push it down, and let's hope this doesn't fall on the floor. You know how little screws always do. And of course it fell in there and I can't get it. So just bear with me while I put this in. So I got it in.
We're not seeing your picture from your iPhone.
You're not?
Yes,
No.
yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I see it.
Oh,
I
okay.
see it.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Sorry, I don't. I'm on a Mac iPad Mini. Maybe that's it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to continue. Thank you, though. The video will be available after that. So I've put the drive in. I'm going to put the back on, and the back slides. And let's make sure that's in. Yeah, that's in.
Cheetah,
Yes.
do you have to ground the surface that you're working on?
I don't recall reading that in the instructions, so I would say no. I would say that it's always safe to do that. So if mine blows up, this is probably why. And so I'm just putting the screws in place.
The double E here says that a conductive surface is always recommended for working on.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jim. All right. So this actually is like a carrier. You can attach this to the back of your computer. It has a like sticky surface, and you can actually like pull it off and put it back on numerous times. And I'm not going to put that on now. But what I am going to do, since I've put it all together, I'm going to now plug this in. So I will be turning off the iPhone and showing you my desktop. All right, so let's put that over. All right, you see my desktop?
Nope.
You do not
Yes.
see my desktop.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I do.
Oh, yes, yes, I'm sorry. The flower, right.
All right, yes, you see the flower. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on this utility. Bring up this utility.
Okay, so this is my iPhone, and I wanted to go over a couple questions that came in. And one of the questions that came in was, let me get it here. From Sue Clark, and she was asking about, can you please tell me why my phone is only sending SMS text to people who have another Apple device? Sometimes that happens to me as well, but it should not be a regular thing. So if you go into messages and look down here, it says right here, can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It says send as SMS only if iMessage is unavailable. So every once in a while, I will text somebody who I know has an iPhone, and it'll go as an SMS, but I figure that's just because there's an issue with iMessage at the time, not necessarily with my phone. So that's all I have on that. Now, the other one that she wanted to know about was on the phone. And can you please tell me if I can have my mobile phone visible to people who I call? And can I choose who I withhold this information from? Well, the answer to the second one is no. It's an all or none. And when you go to the phone and go down to show my caller ID, and I have that on, and that's where you turn that on, but it's an all or none. So I hope that answered that question. Now, this other question came up from Michael Nolan, and let me see. He said, how do I force a new password to be saved? Frequently when a new password is entered, a screen will not ask me to save it. Will ask me to save it, but not always. How do I force a save? And I don't know the answer to that because that happens to me. It happened to me just the other day when I created a new passcode for, I think it was some government site. And I created a complicated password. It said, you want to create a complicated one? I hit that button, but it didn't ask me to save it. And I've had that problem before. So I've gotten the habit of when I create the passcode, it'll almost all the sites will say reveal the code, and I will copy it. And so if it doesn't save it, I have it and I can log out and log back in and put it in, and then it will save it. I talked to Sheeta about this, and she said she had not experienced this, but I would ask, do other people experience this? And is there a different answer that he might try?
I've experienced it, but I don't have a clue what causes it.
Yeah, okay. George, any comment?
I have not experienced it.
Yeah, I experience it about 30 or 40% of the time.
Sometimes, Mitch, what I do is I copy it, but I find out it doesn't comply with the requirements.
Oh, I found that out too. But when I copy it and and it does comply with the requirements. I mean, I can paste it right in and log in. So I guess there's no good answer. I mean, the copy paste is about the best we can do. Then he also asked about in the list of passwords on the site, where one or more passwords is saved, how do I clear them out so that the correct password is the only one saved? And unfortunately, that's pretty much a manual task. I did email with him and found out that, and this is frequent too, that it is the passcodes that are on the iCloud, which are under passwords. Right here, I don't want to get that up because it'll start showing mine. But I have the same thing, and I'll go through that list, and there'll be certain sites where there'll be 3 or 4 different passcodes, sometimes different usernames, and every once in a while I try and go in and clear it up, and sometimes it's correct. Like for Bank of America, I have 3. Because I have one that I use to sign in to Bank of America, and I have one that I use to sign in to their fraud alert area, and then I have one that I use to sign into benefits because I'm tied into their benefits. So sometimes it's legitimate, but there are other sites where there are just a lot of them, and it just seems like over time Apple hasn't done a good job of clearing those old ones out when you replace them with a new one. Any comments on that? Okay.
Mitch,
Now.
if you want to pause, I think I'm ready to.
Okay, great.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and now plug in the drive that I just created. And you should see disk utility. I could not get disk utility to show up. And disk utility brought up this alert. The disk you inserted was not readable by this computer. Do you want to initialize it, ignore it, or eject it? I'm going to select initialize. And the drive that it is looking at is this one right here. And it's listed as a external drive, the connection, PCI Express, partition, not supported. So it doesn't know what to do with this. And the first thing I'm going to do is select erase from the top of disk utility. I'm going to name this, geez, doesn't matter. I'm just going to name it Hunter Drive. I'm going to format it as a Mac OS extended journal, and I'm going to format it as a GUID partition map. Now, this is important if you want to use this as a backup drive. You have to format it as a GUID partition map. And now I'm just going to choose erase. And watch what happens over here on the left-hand side. And it tells me it's done. And so now I have the actual drive, the one I created, and this is the container. Now, the next thing I want to do, and you can also see it over here on the right, the next thing I want to do is set this up so that I can use it as a hard drive backup. And I'm going to use SuperDuper to do that. So let's start SuperDuper. And right now, SuperDuper is looking to back up my other drive. I have it set on schedule. I don't want to do that today or right now. I want to tell SuperDuper, I want you to copy my hard drive, and I want you to copy it to the new Hunter drive. And I'm just going to select copy now. And when I select copy, it's telling me, hey, you can't do that right now because your hard drive internal hard drive has a different system than what's on this drive that you're about to create. So I need to first convert it, and it wants my password.
Sheila, you're not on Big Sur, are you?
I am not on Big Sur.
Okay.
All right, so now this drive is copying my hard drive from copying my hard drive onto this new Envoy Express drive that I just created. Now, this is when I'm going to turn it over to Mitch, because this process normally takes, if I use my normal, like my password drives, and start this process by initializing the drive and then tell it to copy, that process will take about 4 to 5 hours, because my hard drive has, let me show you, my hard drive has over 600 gigabytes used. So that's a process where you go to bed or you go to dinner. So I'm going to turn this over to Mitch, because this process should now take about 30 to 40 minutes. So
Sheila, I thought you were going to go over the iPad multitasking.
let me see if I can do that right now, because again,
If you want to wait, that's fine.
yeah, let me set it up and then I'll tell you when I'm ready. So
Okay, great.
You go ahead and take it.
Okay. See if I got a couple more questions here. Jerry King sent in several questions, and I think most of them have been answered. Jerry, are you out there?
Yes, I am, Mitch. And
Have all of them been answered, including the last one about marking messages read and unread?
yes, Sandy gave me the answer to that one.
Okay, because I knew you posted those on the bulletin board.
Yeah.
So good. I'm glad you're all
The
set.
only questions I have are the ones that Cheetah will address when she gets up into.
Exactly, which is what we discussed. Okay, so one of the things I did want to go over real quickly though is one of Jerry's questions was about on how you mark things read and unread. There's a couple things I'll show. This little thing down here, in case you've forgotten, what that does is if you hit that, it will only show messages that are unread. Probably ought to go to a different mailbox where I don't have so much stuff. Okay, so if I hit that here, it only shows one message unread. Now, if I go back in here into this inbox and I want to, what Jerry had said is if sometimes in the morning I'll read some things and I want to go back over them later, so I want to mark them unread. There's a couple ways you can do that. One is you can pull over to the right and mark it unread. And you see that there's another one, okay? That's the one way to do it. The other way to do it is hit the edit button at the top, okay? And then select the items that you want and mark as unread, the second item down here at the bottom. Okay, so that's the couple ways that you do that. Takes a couple steps, but that's it. And then of course, to mark them as read, you just go like this and mark as read. Okay, back to where we are. So that takes care of that one. Okay, got that one. Okay, now I think there was one other one that came in late. If I have time, I'll get to it later, but I wanted to spend a little time going over the steps that you take if you want to sell your watch or you're getting a new watch, and I'll do that first. So you go into the watch area. I have all this watch stuff in a folder. But you go in and you go into the watch app, and they sort of hide it because you go right up to the top on my name, no, on my, come on, where is, oh, on all watches right here. And then this is where you would add a second watch if you had two watches, but you hit this little eye over here. And then you hit, first of all, you hit find my watch and turn that off, and you hit unpair the watch. And when, unlike the phone, the only time the watch is backed up is when it's unpaired. It's not backed up every night. The phone is, and the data on the phone is that the watch is put over to the phone, but the actual watch is not. So when you hit unpair it, it's making a copy. So if you get a new watch, you plug it in and you'll have a backup. That's how you do the watch, okay? And you'll also want to do the watch if you're selling your phone. And this is the first thing you'll want to do is unpair. You're first going to want to do a backup, and then you're going to want to unpair your watch. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, then to do the phone, and it's this, the phone is the same as the iPad. So you go into settings, okay? And you go right up to the top where your name is, right here, and touch on that. And I don't have any secrets showing here. There's a couple emails, but everybody's got my emails anyhow. These are all my devices. One of the things that you do, the first thing that you do is go into iCloud and turn off iCloud. Back up your phone and then turn off iCloud. Okay. You want to turn off. You want to just turn off. I just turn them all off, just to be safe. And then the other thing you want to do is go to Find My, right here, and you want to turn off Find My Phone. And when you hit that, Find My Phone, okay, and when I go to here to turn that off, it's going to ask me for my passcode to do that. I'm going to cancel that. And you have to do that. Those are the first things that you have to do. Once you've done those couple things, you want to go back into settings and go all the way, go to general, right here. General, go all the way to the bottom to reset. And you want to go erase all settings and all content and settings. And it says, do you want to back up and then erase? And again, if you've just backed up, you can skip that step, but you could back up right there to iCloud. You could also back up to iMazing, which would be a good second thing to do. And also, if you wanted to, you could back up to iTunes. Or I guess it's not iTunes anymore. It's, where is it? It's in the, I think it's in Finder. But you could back it up on your computer as well. And then you hit this erase now. And you have to enter your passcode, and it'll ask you then 2 more times, do you really want to do this? And then you do it, and you're done. So those are the steps, and they're the exact same steps on the iPad. Now, again, in the notes or in the chat area, the first thing in the chat area, I've got 5 or 6 links. There's an article from Apple on how to set up, the steps you need to do to get your phone or iPad ready. Then there's a video on YouTube that is outstanding I actually just found it this morning. And the guy does a really good job. The only thing he doesn't do is he doesn't go through the steps to unpair the watch. But other than that, it's a superb video and it's only 3 minutes long. And then there's an article on how to do the watch. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, let me just see what else I needed to cover here. Okay, now I want to go to some photos. And I can do that on my phone. And here we go. So one of the things we talked about was this cup holder from WeatherTech. This is what it looks like. And you'll notice that there's I think there's 5 different cup sizes. They were a little bit difficult to pull off, but the first couple I had to pull off, and they tell you how to do it, and it wasn't that difficult, but it took a second. And then when you do that, this is what it looks like in my car. And actually this is very similar to my car, where I have 2 cup holders, and in this one I have the phone. I just slide it right in. And in mine, right about here, I have a USB connection that comes right out. And if I want to charge the phone or plug it in to get CarPlay, I can. So I really like this a lot. Now there's a lot cheaper ways to go with some of the holders that attach to your vents and attached to the dashboard of your car somewhere. I just thought I really like this, and I actually have a friend who's had one for a year and really likes it as well.
You didn't get the extender?
I didn't get the extended. No, they do make an extended one that goes up higher. I didn't find that was necessary. This thing swivels back and forth and everything, really easy, front and back and sideways. And here's a picture of the different cups. So it's really good, not cheap, about $45 on their site. Now, next thing I want to go over.
Mitch,
Yes.
it's Wayne. I've seen or heard that Belton's got a MagSafe one that you attach to the vent, and it sticks right on the holder by the magnet. Have you seen or heard about that one?
Yeah, there are a lot of other ones out there, Wayne. I just like this one, and but I knew that there was a MagSafe one out there. So I mean, if you go on eBay and look for phone holders for a car, you'll get inundated with all kinds. But thanks for mentioning that.
Mitch, this is Frank. If you're using your phone with this holder as a GPS, you would have to look down to view your map. Wouldn't that pose a problem? You're getting your eyes off.
Well, it would if unless I hit it on, if I hit it on CarPlay, I would be looking right at the dashboard of my, if I plug it in to the USB, CarPlay comes up and the map would show there.
That's why I asked about the extender.
Yeah, they do make one that has an extender that will lift this up about to here.
Put it more at eye level.
Yeah, more at eye level. But I chose not to get that one because I can, if I'm going somewhere and I don't use the map application that often, but when I do, I just plug in the CarPlay and then it would show on my dashboard.
Yeah, but if your car doesn't have CarPlay, then you're using basically your phone as a GPS.
Then you would want to get the one with the extender.
Right.
And the actually while I'm on that, when I put in directions now, I rarely I'll look at the phone every once in a while or look at the map, but I find that the watch does the best job in telling me what I need to do because it gives me a haptic touch. And I look down at my watch and it says you need to turn right in 200 feet. And then when I get to the intersection, it gives me a haptic touch that I need to turn. And I find that to be just super.
You know, Mitch, I agree with you. I think that's a good enough reason to almost to own a watch, because it makes it 10 times safer when the watch starts beating on your arm when you're getting close to the intersection than trying to look up or down to see the phone.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
Okay, so
safer,
that's.
it's safer to use Uber.
Are you an Uber driver?
Are you an Uber guy?
I'm an Uber user. I'm not only Uber, but Lyft as well. I don't drive at all. I let Uber or Lyft drivers take me around.
Thank
Okay.
God. I'm glad to know that.
Or he rides his bike?
Okay, so enough on the cup holder. That's the one I like. Now I wanted to go over to the HomePod Mini. And I was going over this stuff with Sheeta, and she said, you got to show a couple pictures of how big this thing is, because it really is small. Here's somebody's hand on it. The next slide. Here it is, a picture of mine next to my iPhone 12. Okay. Now I chose the black ones because in the reviews that I read, they said the white ones on top, if you happen to touch the top, it shows more fingerprints than on the black one. And so I got black ones. I got two of them, one for me in my office and one in the bedroom. And I immediately ordered a third one. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the kitchen or put another one in my office so I have stereo music.
Mitch, what is this thing again? I missed that. What is this?
It is a HomePod Mini, and they're $99. I think I have that on the next slide. Maybe not. No. But they're $99 at Apple. This is what it looks like when it's on. I mean, when it's on and playing some music or doing something. There are a lot of things that you can do. The link that I put a link in there again for everybody, and in that link, it goes through a lot of the Siri commands that. I can't even mention that name. I got my damn iPad going crazy now. But it mentions a lot of those commands. Let me just see. I'll pull up a few of them. While that's coming up. So this is what it looks like when it's on. The only thing that some people have said they don't like, and I don't like it, is the cord is fixed to the unit. And then it goes down and it's a USB-C. They give you the C charger adapter that plugs into the wall. So, but since this thing is attached, this isn't a thing that you're going to be able to, that's going to charge up or anything, or it's going to be able to take to the beach or whatever. A lot of people have talked about that. So let me see some of these commands. You can do a lot of instructions, like they go through a lot in the article that I linked on setting up calendar events. You can set up a time range, a date, an event name. You can set up an all-day meeting or partial meeting. You can set up in contacts that you want to invite and the event name. You can do all kinds of things. I'm not going to go through all of them, but those were a few on the calendar. And then on the what they call white noise, you can set up white noise, which is like you know, play rain sounds, play fireplace sounds, play forest sounds, play stream sounds, play sounds, and then it would give you a random playing of all those. You can use it as an intercom, so I can just right now say, hey, whatever, and we're getting ready to leave, and that would go right into the one in the bedroom where my wife is. And she'd come running out here right now and say, where in the hell are we going? But anyhow, that it's good for that, and yes.
Mitch, just mention where that information is. Somebody just asked that.
It's in the, I listed this, it's the first item in the chat or comment area on our board today. So, and there's live links. You might, I think you can copy and paste that right from there. And don't we also send that stuff out, George?
Mitch, we're not seeing that
yes.
stuff in chat, or I'm not seeing that stuff in chat.
It's the first thing in chat.
First thing I've got is from Jerry.
Yeah, I don't see it in chat either.
Well, let me get out of here. I'll get into there in just a minute. I'll get into that chat.
I can see it.
You can see it? It's the first one in there. You got to scroll up to the top because it's before Jerry's, because I put it in like at 11:05 before anybody was here.
No,
it may only be in your chat after you signed in.
This is Eckhart, the host. Unfortunately, it is not in the chat box. I don't see it. And I have.
Well, I'll put it in there again. I'll put it in there again.
Mitch, why don't you put it on the message board?
You mean the club message board?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put it in there. I'll put it in there. It'll be under today's meeting. Okay. I'll do that in just a little bit after the meeting. But you can also, you can use it as an intercom. You can use it to create notes and reminders. You can use it to email yourself or someone else. You can trigger the do not disturb mode. You can set up, let me just see, well, it does a lot of things. Now, it doesn't do everything that Alexa does, but it doesn't spy on you either. So there you go. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to show, and I don't know if Wayne has seen this, but I just got one of these, and I was so impressed, I thought I'd show it to the group. This is put out by Level Lock. They make two devices. This is the Level Lock Bolt device, and they put in, they also have a Level Lock door lock device that is the whole doorknob and everything else. The thing I like about this is that this right here inserts right in your, if you have an existing deadbolt, this goes right into where your existing deadbolt is. You take your door part right there and just put this in. This slides right into here, and you screw these in. It takes one tool to set this up, and that is a Phillips screwdriver. This part right here is the part where your existing bolt lock turner goes in, and they give you 3 different ones to cover about 95% of the deadbolts in the country. Took me I'm not mechanically inclined at all. It took me about 10 minutes to do this. So this is what it looks like. It is not cheap. That's $229. The other one that goes on the door is $329. And the big difference is with this one, you can use your existing keys. So you don't have to change, you're not changing your keys at all. And I wanted to keep my existing keys. And they're a special type of key that's harder to pick than normal keys are. But this thing took me all of 10 or 15 minutes to put in. I looked up a video on YouTube on how to do it, and trust me, when something takes me 10 or 15 minutes to put in, it has to be pretty simple, because this is taking apart doors and putting this kind of stuff in is not what I usually do. But I mean, and you would not know it's there. The only thing you see when this is done is you see this plate, and you got to be looking for that plate and this to know it's even in there. So I was really impressed with this. Wayne, have you seen this?
I've heard about it. It's got good reviews, but I don't think it works with HomeKit.
Yes, it does.
Oh, it does.
That's why I got it. It works with HomeKit, and it works when you're, you know, I was 5 miles away from the house the other day and locked the door and unlocked it. It comes right up on HomeKit.
Mitch, does it have a battery in it?
It has a battery right here. When the bolt is out, it unscrews. There's a battery that goes in there, and the battery, they say, lasts for about a year.
Mitch, does this work on Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
It works on, I think both, but I know it works on Wi-Fi. I know it works on LTE, because where I was 5 miles away, there was no Wi-Fi, and I was on my phone, and I was locking and unlocking the door. And it shows that action happening in HomeKit.
Mitch, my stepson, Austin, has one of these, and about 12 times a year, he changes girlfriends, and they work extremely well.
Yes, actually, that thought occurred to me, is that anybody who is changing their companion, this would work really well. And they have an app. They have an app on the App Store. This is actually what the app looks like. But you need the app to set it up, but you don't need it. It's right in HomeKit, and that's where I go to do it. I can actually show that real quick. Let me share that screen real quick.
Just show you a update of what's going on. Here is the process so far of this backup. I'm actually almost done, and it's been 28 minutes. So while we're waiting for, I'm going to go ahead and get into split screen. Someone asked about this feature. Split screen is a feature that actually came out on the iPad about 5 years ago. It's not a new feature, it's an old feature, but it's one that some people don't use and don't know about. It's not available on every iPad. And I think when it first came out, it was only available on the iPad Air 2s or something like that. So I have an external keyboard and an external mouse connected to my iPad. To get split screen to work, all you have to do is, let's say I'm in the Safari app and I want to open up a Pages document or work with a Pages document or copy information or copy links. And this is actually how I work with the split screen all the time. When I do testing, I'll have the app that I'm testing on one side of the screen, and I'll have the Note app on the other. So while I'm in any particular app, I can pull up the dock, and I'm going to just hold and press on Pages until it gives me some indication that I've pressed on it. Then I pull it up out of the dock, and as I move it off to the right-hand side, and I can take it to the left-hand side as well, but as I move it off to the right-hand side, it then opens up the Pages app and slides the existing app over to the side. There's a bar in the middle that I can adjust how much of each app I want to see. And now I can even work in Pages. So I'm going to create a new document. I click the plus sign. I'm going to create a new blank document. And I can start working. And let's say there's a link. Or anything. So let's say, for example, if I want to, let's say, I can copy that. and I can paste it over in Pages. So it's really easy to use. It's easy to work with. And when you're done, you can just slide it and close it, and it comes back to the original app. Split view.
So Sheeta, what happens if Pages was not in the dock?
I'd have to open Pages so that I get it into the dock. So if it's not in the dock, I can't just pull it up into it. So I have to have an app that's in the dock already.
And Cheetah, you have to have this set up in settings. There's settings to enable this thing.
Does that work with iOS or only with a OS?
Okay, let me answer the first question. If memory serves me correctly, this is a feature of iPad OS or iOS 9 at the time. And there's somebody correct me. I do believe it is a setting, but someone check their iPad.
It's a setting on your iPad, but I don't know where it is.
Okay, so it is a set. I've used it so often. I've used it for 5 years.
It is your home.
Oh yes, it's under home screen and dock.
Okay, so let's go to.
And then multitasking.
Are you in settings, Mitch?
Yeah, settings, home screen and dock. It's about 3 or 4 under general, and then you want to have
settings, home screen, and dock, and
then the last one there, you have it turned on. Multitasking.
We have allow multiple apps, drag applications from the dock or home screen to create split view and slide over apps. So there's the setting for it. Who asked the second question? What was the second question?
Wayne.
I don't think it was Wayne. I think it was Carl. Did you ask a question, or was it?
It was Alan that asked the
Alan.
question.
Yes.
Alan.
What was your question, Alan?
I mean, does this split thing being worked with OS or just iOS?
iPad OS only. It's an iPad feature only.
Cheetah,
Yes.
this is Bill. Can you show us how you pull those URLs out of there so slick?
Okay, so here, let's pull that up again. And so if I want to just pull a URL out of here, I'm just holding on the URL. And then I can just come down. I've released my finger from it, and it brings up this menu. Whoops, let's bring it back. Come back. And I just select copy. And over here, and paste. Yeah. Okay.
Cheetah,
And go ahead.
Cheetah, I have an old version of an iPad with the 10.33 version, and it does not work.
Yes, it depends on the iPad. Like I said, I believe this feature came out and only the higher level iPads at the time could show you split screen. So again, I believe it started like with an iPad Air 2, because I had an Air 1 and I couldn't do this. So yeah,
this is a dinosaur. It's 2012.
Yes, I have dinosaurs, and I think the iPad that I'm on right now is telling me it's getting too old. So there's something going on with this. Alan, what was your question?
Sorry, you already answered it. I was the one that asked about the OS version.
Okay. Okay, and Marcia asked, do you have to change settings for split screen? Yes. Again, in the settings, and go to home screen and dock, like Mitch pointed out. And I put, yes.
Can you, I'm sorry, were you in the middle of explaining something to Marcia?
I was about to say that I put the link to iPad OS split view slide overview in the chat pod, so that you could, there's actually more commands that you could do that sort of relate to, click on that link in the chat. You'll be taken to that support page from Apple.
Can you also post that to the board after the
Yes,
meeting?
of course, of course.
Thank
And
you.
I will try to send a copy of the chat to everybody that I send the video to.
Okay.
So everybody
And-
should have it. One other thing, Sheila, can you drag from the search bar, can you drag that to the page document? Like you can to your desktop?
I'm sorry, say that again?
If you want to drag that URL in the search bar
The URL that's in the search bar here?
yeah, that one,
Yep,
to your page document.
I just did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So very, very flexible. I use it a lot when I'm working. All right.
Bill, did you see how how we did that?
Okay, well, while Bill is answering, I've come back to my super duper backup, and I am practically done. I just have that little sliver right there of processing to do, and it's taken 37 minutes so far to copy over 600 gigabytes of data. That includes video files, lots of photos, and regular text files, Photoshop files, image files, all kinds of stuff. And the reason that I got this drive in the first place is because of this. And actually, the main reason was because I tried to, you always want to test your backups. You don't want to just make a backup and then just assume that it's working. And actually, let's see if I can show you how you should test. Let's open up System Preferences. And after you create a backup, to test your backup, you want to come to Systems Preferences and you want to select Startup Disk. And Startup Disk will then show you the drives that are compatible with your computer that you can start up from. Here is the existing backup that I have. This is my computer, and this is the backup that it is creating right now. So once you create your backup, you want to unlock, and then you want to select the drive, and you want to then choose restart, and it will restart and it will bypass your hard drive and it will use the backup drive. And then this is how you check to make sure that your backup actually works. So I was using my passport drives, and it was taking a good 20 minutes in order for my backup to start up my computer. And that was unacceptable as far as using as a backup. So this is why I was prompted to get these faster drives for my computer. And as you can see here on the left-hand side, my backup is now finished, and we're looking at 40 minutes, 41 minutes. Now I've set this up so that it does a smart backup on my original backup here. So I've set it up so that it only backups the material that has changed on my computer on a daily basis. So the rest of the data stays in place. It only backs up the new data, and that takes about 10 minutes now, where it used to take anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes on the passport drives.
Sheila, how long does it take to open the new drive up?
The same amount of, what do you mean open the new drive up?
In other words,
when I do the backup?
If you were going to use that drive now as your
startup drive?
Yeah, how long will it take to open up? Can you show us?
No, because then I would have to, it would quit my computer and they would take me out of here. It behaves just like my computer. I showed you the speed test. The speed test on the left is my computer. The speed test on the right is the Envoy Express. There is a difference, but it's not enough difference for it to take 20 minutes to start up my computer versus just starting up my computer. as
So
normal.
it basically just starts it up.
Basically just starts it right up. All right,
Right.
so
Well, that's
super duper have it because my drive is now backed up. And let me hide this and let's take a look at this drive. Let's open, no, I don't want to open it up. What I want to do is show you how much data is copied on this drive. So there is right here, 661 gigabytes of data has been copied, and that was 41 minutes. Okay. All right, I am done. Mitch, it's all yours, or George, you can take it from here.
Excellent. I'm finished as well. I covered mostly everything that I wanted to go over.
I have a comment if I can add it.
Sure, Michael.
Someone asked a question about whether or not you can use split screen in the Mac OS, and you can. Works same way.
Okay, great.
Sheeta, do you know how that drive compares with the one they sell at Costco? The external drive, the SSD, whether it's dramatically faster?
It is dramatically faster. I seem to remember the read-write speed of that drive sold at Costco was something like 500 millibytes per second, or millibits per second. So it's 3 times as fast.
Okay.
Or 3 times faster.
Super duper written for the latest Mac OS.
No.
Big Sur, Super Duper right now does not work under Mac Big Sur.
Yeah.
So that's the, if there's anybody that's depends on Super Duper, I would continue to wait to install Big Sur until we get word from Super Duper and Apple that they'll work together. And it should, I would assume that it's going to happen momentarily.
George?
Yes.
Jim Corsica. Do you know if the Super Duper people are actively working on this improvement?
David Nanyan is. He's the developer of Super Duper.
Knowing the Super Duper people from my the past, I would assume they're right on top of it.
Okay. Because that's all I'm waiting on.
And Sue Clark asked, does Carbon Copy Cloner work on Big Sur? Yes, it does.
And what about 1Password?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay, everybody. Is everybody on mute? I guess we can all give the meeting our cheers. You guys did a great job. It was an outstanding meeting. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody stay well. And we'll see you next week for Wayne's meeting on genealogy.
Thank you, Mitch and Cheetah.
You're quite welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Take care.
Cheetah.
Stay safe.